Okay. So now you see
Okay.
this. So basically all the API testing is done, and this all the backend means backend testing is done. They are already connected with the database. So typically what people do, people just run the normal database query. That's not actually the real. You run the query based on the data you have just created, based on the testing you have just performed. And that's exactly the real. You do this and you will be doing it any project you go. So we are going to use the same data that you have created. We are going to verify on the database. But before we verify, we'll be talking about the database a little bit details. So go ahead, go to the database.
Okay. Before we do this, we didn't show the monitoring.
Okay,
So we can
okay,
show the monitoring, then we can go to the
okay, go ahead.
database.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so to create monitors on the Postman, we have to click on the monitors from the sidebar. Then click on the create a monitor. Okay. Then give the monitor name. So we can give any name here, like FFM API monitor.
So
Okay.
monitoring, this monitoring is super important. This is actually the Cloud Ops engineer do. This is technically it's called the synthetic monitoring, okay? Because in the production, you already see the everything is happening, user is using, but we actually, each of the API we monitor in the staging environment. The purpose is so that if any of the API is down, that you can catch the issues right away. Of course, API can be down because as you are developing the more and more API, more and more like the system, the adding the more functionality, things are down. You will not believe many at least, I don't know the hand count, many of our functionality in the TS4 does not work. I cannot say works because we do not monitor each of the functionality, we do not have the automation. But this type of monitoring, if you create the API monitoring and you monitor them, you can find the issues right away. Okay, either bug or the services, like some type of things is happening, is not working. So monitoring is actually the part of the CI/CD, part of the actually the DevOps engineer, one of the core role. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So after that, we can create the collection. So let's create the collection, the first one. Then this
You
is the
show the
current.
collection. You do not create the
Yeah.
collection, you show the collection that you have created. So that's the way you did it, okay?
Then this is the just the tag, and then we have to select the environment. So select the staging environment. Then like this one is for the, like, if you want to pass in a CSV, and then this is the monitor time. So here, if we want to put the time, we can put the time, like hour time. Then every hour or every 2 hours we can select the time like this. Okay. Then also it will just automatically, it will select the region. It's by default it is this. And then receive email notifications for run failures and errors. Like if we get any failure, we can give the email address and it will send us the email to
Yep.
this address.
So
Okay.
you can add more emails. You can add more emails who wants to receive. Normally, this type of time we do the group email. Means you create a group, and then you add all the development team member in that group. So email triggered to the group so that everybody receive the email. Instead of you are sending, you are adding one by one email ID. And the next is like a what is called the after how many times you are sending the email. So which is a consecutive failures, and then retry if run fail. Of course, sometimes it fail. So you can give the if fail one time, you just retry again, so it will run again. And the set request timeout. If you can give a specific timeout, a specific time, then it will be actually it will not run anymore. You can give the delay again, right? You did the in between, like the 1,000 millisecond means 1 second. You can do this and follow the redirection. If you have the redirection, means from one URL to another URL, and enable SSL validation. If you do not have the SSL, you do not need to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
that's
click on the create
monitoring.
monitor. Okay.
Is that?
So if I run this, it will run. Here you can see it's by manually running, but after every 1 hour, it will run automatically. Either
That's
your
actually the main
connection is
thing.
on. Yeah.
So collection runner, we clicked it, right? We click the collection and we run it, but here it is actually scheduled already. Every 2 hours it will run. After running, and then it will send you the email whether pass or fail. That's actually the true automation. You manual tested it, you designed the whole automation, and you actually did everything. Now it's monitoring, it's healthy. It will be running all the time. You can, since it is running every 2 hours, you're good. In the 12 hours it is running, in the 24 hours it is running 12 times. Normally, what do we do? Before the code deployment, we run the automation. After the code deployment, we run the automation. Why? So that we can find the bug. Oh, before it was working fine. After the code, new code, it broke. So at least we know that something is wrong. So you can learn the more details from this. It actually runs the same thing. Same thing we're running on the collection. And it, of course, it is reporting. Since it will be running continuously every 2 hours, it will give you a report. How many times, what is the percentage, overall percentage that your system health. This is the way we know how the system is behaving. So if you have a 200 APIs on the 10 features, and then you can see in health, 5 features are very healthy. And the 4 features are the failure here and there. So now you can make a, like the summarize, these 4 features we are seeing the consistently failure or inconsistent failure, or most of the time the failure on these features. So that now that we have the data, right? So that development team can start looking into the API, the why it is failing. So that's actually the continuous run, create the report, your test outcome based on the reporting. Now we have the data, we actually make the decision what we need to do. You cannot just run one time and make a decision system is not working or system is working. No, we run the duration, a period of time, and then we observe, we collect the report, and report tells us what failed. Oh, each time this API is failure. Each time these 2 API is failure. Each time that service is always failing, that feature is failing. So now that we have the data. And the monitoring actually gives you the data. Based on the data, we actually start improving the system. Either updating the API, creating the new features, or updating the database, or improving the application backend. Anything happens after that, we have the data through the monitoring. Thank you.